1.5 cup of all-purpose flour. I did 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder and half a teaspoon of salt. You can use kosher salt. I use salt but non-iodine salt. I shifted. You have the option of not shifting it, but you see the difference? It's much better. In here we have half a cup of room temperature butter, a cup of peanut butter. Scoop all this up. These are for my grandbabies. You're gonna mix these two up. I got this on 3 years ago and I've used it a couple of times. I'm gonna mix this 3 years ago and I've used it a couple of times. Okay, guys, after the peanut butter and the butter is incorporated, what you're going to add on is your half a cup of brown sugar. You pack it. You pat it down to make sure that there's no airs or no pockets in them. That's half a cup of brown sugar and half a cup of granulated sugar. But just for future, when you mix dry ingredients, you start at a low speed because not this was going to happen. So you start off in a low speed and gradually bring it up. I left mine to mix for about 1 minute to 2 minutes. I wanted that sugar to be incorporated with the butter and the peanut butter. I smell the peanutty smell in my kitchen. So now just whip, clean the side of the bowl. Just want to make sure you scrape the sides. You want to make sure that all that is incorporated well. So, and what you're going to do now is add 1 egg to this and a teaspoon
1 egg
of vanilla.
No crust, no shell.
But I suggest if you're baking with, are you doing eggs, when you crack it in a cup. Sometimes the shell may break in there, but like I've been baking for years.
And in the process,
and like I said, a teaspoon of vanilla. Mix that in.
A teaspoon of baking.
And then the next step is we are going to put in our dry ingredients. So remember what I said, when you're adding dry ingredients, keep it on a low speed at the beginning. Because you're going to have flour all over. That's my son that just went by. And before you put in that dry ingredients, give it a little whisk.
And make sure all this is mixed again.
You want to make sure that all that is mixed in well. So
now,
peanut butter and jelly freak when I was first with my last child.
Flour mixture.
Whisk it.
1.5 cup of flour. 3/4
Even though you shifted, but it's good to give it a little swift before you put it in.
Powder. I'm going to have the rest of these, and half a teaspoon of salt.
I have flour in my hand, peanut butter, butter.
Now, we don't want the same thing happening what happened with the
See
sugar.
the flour? The flour dust,
Low.
low speed. There you
We're
go.
gonna let that incorporate and then we're gonna give
You're
it a
gonna
high
let
speed.
this mix together for about 2 minutes. But in the process,
You want
always
flour
make
all
sure
over
to
the
scrape the
place.
sides of the bowl. So when you don't see any more of the flour, then you bring it up to high speed. There you go.
And it's like whisking all of the sides together.
I had to do a voice call. Because I wasn't going to do a video. I was just going to do it on TikTok. But if I'm doing all this, I might as well do it.
Stop it.
Oh, man.
Let me show you.
You know it's ready when everything is coming off the side of the bowl. Again, scrape that side. Ooh, there you go.
My hands are
And
clean.
don't come at me in your
at me.
comments about my finger. These are for my grandchildren.
My hands
And
always
believe me
in
when I
water.
tell you, I'll clean my
No more.
hands. Wash my hands about 50 times a day. That's why they're cracking and they dry.
And there you have
There
it.
you go. That's when you know
Peanut butter
your
cookies.
cookie is ready.
That quick. You see the butter?
These
Okay.
cookies are going to bake from 9
You
to
need a
10
fork.
minutes. What I'm doing now
I
is
didn't
taking the
measure.
fork and doing
You can measure
crisscross.
weight the dough.
That's all I'm doing.
So it could be consistent, all of them, but
And
I
don't
do
worry if your
So you're gonna
cookie cracks,
tap in
just like it's happening right now.
very softly.
It's normal.
And these are going to go in the
Just
oven
giving a little, just a slight pressure. That's all
from
you're doing.
9 to 10 minutes.
Again, they are going to bake from 9 to 10 minutes. The cooking sheet I have here is an old cooking sheet. And use
they're going to
parchment
crack.
paper.
Of course they're going to crack, so don't worry
Anytime
about
I
that.
bake, I use parchment paper.
So into the oven they go, and excuse the pan. This is a very old pan, and I like to cook with what I have or bake for 9 to 10 minutes in the oven. Cookies are out the oven. You're going to keep them in your baking pan until it cools and firms down. They smell peanutty in this house. I got them on the cooking rack. About 15 minutes.
Oh, let me tell you about these cookies. I'm a diabetic, but you can't bake and not taste your own product. You know what I mean? Or what you bake or what you've done. And these are the best peanut butter cookies I've done. It's so buttery and soft. It is really, really good.